Hey, good morning to all my fellow young drivers out there. You guys that are uh, coming out of truck driving school. Um, my name is Antonio Abernathy, but AKA on the road. When I was on the road, they called me the Guardian Knight. Um, I'm gonna try to get something straight here. Okay, the industry, the trucking industry. Um, Believe it or not, you're gonna hear some dark stories about the trucking industry, how bad it is, but on the real side, the trucking industry is cool. Okay, it's cool. Bottom line, but here's the thing: you got a lot of guys out there that are trying to tell drivers what they need to do and how to make it in the career, and I give them props up. But they leaving a lot of things out. They making it seem like, oh, this industry, man, is this, it's simple. You can do this. Oh yeah, you can do it. But always remember, put you weigh the bad with the good. Okay. When you first starting out as a company driver, when you first coming out of truck driving school, it's not going to be as easy as you think. It's a industry that's requires a lot of patience. You're gonna you're gonna suffer through some things. You're gonna go through some things, but in the end, it's it's cool. But here's the number one thing you got to remember. You guys coming out of truck driving school, you got to remember. Remember this. Ask yourself this. Is it something that you want to do? Okay, that's for starters. Are you able to spend long periods away from home? Do you think if you marry, got a girlfriend, have kids, do you think they would accept you being away from home long periods of time? Okay. Now, you answer yourself, get an answer from those questions I just brought up. If you got a wife, if you got a girlfriend, if you got kids, well, the kids, I'll say this: the kids, they're gonna, and I'll say this, they're gonna miss you. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing: if they're young, they're babies, they little like toddlers, they know you gone, but for the next, say, 5, 6 years that you away from home, see, that's enough time. You young, you can save your money up. By that fifth or sixth year, you got enough money saved up to either put down on the truck, put down on the truck, okay, that where you can call your own shots, okay? Because the one thing you got to do when you get your own truck, don't lease on with nobody. You can, but I mean, to be real, be your own boss. Save your money up at the same time to be able to get your own authority. That way you don't lease on to nobody. Okay? You don't lease on nobody, meaning you got control of everything. You sign on to a company. Let's say Pillsbury. Let's say Frito Lay's. Or let's say even FedEx. You pulling for FedEx. But see, like, get one of those contracts. You can get it, but you got these other companies like US Express and these other companies that got teams that's going to get dibs on the freight, which means chances are they're going to force the price of freight rate down because they're going to haul it a little bit cheaper than what you want to haul it for. But make a long story short, you pulling, you hauling for them, but you hauling for yourself. Okay, you pulling for you. You know exactly where you going to, how you get there, and when you got to be there. Okay, see, that's the whole thing. But to say this again, be your own, be your own boss. Don't lease. When you lease on with somebody, see, you half and half. You part owner, but you leased on to, you contracted to these people, this company. Okay. If you brokered out your loads, that means you got more power over how you pull your loads. As long as you doing your job, getting your loads there on time, that's fine. Okay. But I'm saying this. Save your money up, get your own authority. The thing about it is this. You got guys out there saying, they talking, the one thing I give to them, this younger group is, they don't, a lot of them are not putting companies down like Warner and CR England, US Express. Okay. See, here's the thing. They finding out that all the companies are the same. That's why I try to tell y'all, when you get out of school and you go to one of these companies, okay, and first of all, you thinking you're not making enough money. You knew, let me explain something to you. When you went to that company, you already knew what they was paying you and what the minimum and then the maximum of payment that you was going to make from them, per mile. All right. Now, you did your homework. You didn't check not only say Warner, you didn't check England, you didn't check Express, Nice Transportation. You didn't look at all of them, and you seen their pay scale. Now, you say, well, Warner accepted me. These companies over here didn't accept me, okay? So you go to work for Warner, and, well, I ain't really making what I'm making over here at Warner where I could be making somewhere else. See, what you did was you stayed there to get at least 8 or 9 months experience or even a year, and then you move on. I'm going to tell y'all something. The way Warner, England, US, Pam, Swift, Snyder, USA, or whoever else, the way they did you when you was with them, when you go to that other company, it's going to be the exact same way. You're going to get the exact same treatment. The only difference is it's going to be a different style. They're going to come at you with a different style. That person that you seen with, say, Warner, okay, you seen them there for about, say, 8, 9 months, and then they left and they went to another company. Now they're over at this company and they thinking this company is going to treat them even better than what Warner treated them. But they stay with that company, say, for another 8 or 9, maybe even a year, okay? And they start noticing the same exact thing that went on at Warner is happening here. Before you know it, you see them again with another uniform on at another company. They're over with Snyder now. Oh man, Snyder this and Snyder do. My fellow drivers, and I'm telling you young guys this, do whatever you got to do to try to amend or try to meld in with that company. Don't move. Why? Because the longer you stay with them, the more benefits you're going to get. The better the treatment you're going to get. You're going to get the better ends of the loads. You're going to be turning, say, you can turn, you be with a company X amount of years, you'll be turning like 650 miles a day. You running over 3,000, close to 3,500, and you running, like I said, you running from Monday, you run from Monday to Friday, okay? And then you get a load over the weekend that's got, that's like, say, delivered Monday, that's got over 1,000 miles on it. You turning almost, if not, you figure 6 times 5, that's 30. 6 times 5 is 30, okay? 6 times 5 is 30, plus say you got a 1,000-mile trip over the weekend. That's 4,000 miles a week. That's legal, and you making good money. You run that the whole time that you out on the road. Because just remember now, drivers, I asked y'all earlier. The one thing that if you listen to what I said, I asked you earlier, if you remember, I said, are you willing to stay long periods from home? Because that is the only way you're going to make any kind of money, any decent money. any decent money. Okay, that is the only way you can make any decent money. See, like I said, you're gonna be out. They say when you coming out of truck driving school, you looking at being out on the road at least. And I say this: companies try to tell you 14 days, 21 days. I'm gonna tell you something. When you go home every 14 days, you're not gonna get much at all. What they're gonna do is they're gonna try. In other words, they're gonna try to starve you. I hate to tell you this. When you stay out, say 4 weeks. Say 4 weeks. You stayed out 4 weeks. They're gonna run you. They're gonna run you good. You're gonna be averaging over between 3,000 and 4,000 miles a week, easily, and it's easily to be done, and you can comfortably do it. Yes, you can comfortably do it. Okay, because you picked up that load that Friday. You picked up that load that Friday that delivers 1,000 miles over the weekend. You're gonna try to turn at least 700 miles that Friday when you pick that load up. When you pick that load up for that weekend, you're gonna try to turn at least that 700 miles that Friday and be there early Sunday. You know, where you can kick back the rest of that day. You got the rest of the day to kick back and see. Somebody say, well, you're gonna be out of hours. No, you won't. No, you won't. You'll never be out of hours. I'm gonna tell you why. The simple reason why you would never be out of hours, because for every day that you show 11 hours, now you know they changed it. It used to be 10 hours of driving. You can do now is 11 hours. All they did was change that 8-day, 70-hour rule. They dropped it back by 10 hours. Okay, but still, it's the same thing. It used to be what is it? Man, let me get it right. 8-day, 70-hour. No, is it 8-day? I think it's 8-day, 70-hour rule. And they changed it to. No, is it 7 days? It's either 8 days, 8-day, 70-hour rule. They dropped it back. They dropped it back by 10 hours. Okay, it's 60 hours now. Okay, but here's the thing. Make a long story short. When you figure it up, it still comes back the same way. When you reach that 60 hours, then your hours you start getting back. When you normally it was 70 hours. You reach the 70 hours, you start after that 70 hours, you get back that day. Whatever you use, if you use 10 hours, whatever you use, you get that 10 hours back. Now is that 60 days, you get the 11 hours back. Now, how that work that you not lose hours, you always going to generate hours, is that as long as you show 11 hours a day, okay, let's say, for example, you drove, let's say 5 hours, all right, and you done, okay, you do a pre-trip and you do a post-trip, all right, and that's showing let's say you show 15 minutes pre-trip and 15-minute post-trip, and you can do it, and it is legal. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It is legal. You still can show 15 minutes. It don't take really to observe your truck real well. Just do a walk around. You do a walk around listening. The main thing is listening for air leaks. Looking down visually to see if you got oil puddles or whatever. But you do a 15-minute walk around each time. Pre-trip, post-trip. That's 30 minutes. Okay? You drove 5 hours. Now you showing 5 hours. You showing 5 hours and 30 minutes. Okay? And then you show going off duty for the rest of that day. Okay? You show going off duty for the rest of that day. Okay? Now, you just shot yourself in the foot. Why? Because you only going to show 5 hours and 30 minutes for working that whole day, whether you driving or on duty not driving. Now, what you want to do is, when you show going off duty, okay, drop down, go to show on duty where you got your 30 minutes for doing your pre-trip and post-trip. Okay, you didn't get no fuel that day. So you have to show you got to show 5 hours and 30 minutes more of on duty not driving. And when you flag that, log it as you's working around the truck, which you doing. Because here's a legal thing. When you put off duty means you're not in the truck. Off duty means you're not. And people say yes it do. No, it don't. Off duty means you're away from the truck. You know nowhere near that truck. Like if you went into the truck stop and eat, you showed on duty, not driving. Legally, that's wrong because on duty meaning you're around your vehicle. Off duty means you're away from that truck, like you're at home. You're off duty. You are no longer around that vehicle. Period. Okay, that's what off duty means. On duty means that you are working around your vehicle. You at the vehicle. You doing stuff around the vehicle, whether you be paperwork, cleaning up, whatever. But you're not in a sleeper. You're not sleeping. Okay, you're on duty and you're not driving. What that does is that right there. You do that every time you have a short day. Always fill the day with showing 11 hours. Okay, because when you reach that 60-hour rule, guess what? When that day fall off, you're going to get 11 hours back. So at midnight, you're able to drive again, and you got 11 hours to drive. And the next day, when you get done that day, the next day, when them 11 hours are going, the next day, you're going to get back 11 more hours. So you would never be out of driving hours, okay? But here's the glitch to that. Just follow me. Here's the glitch. Whatever you do, don't set yourself up with your dispatcher start hauling loads anytime. You let them know you set time, like say you like to work first shift, you like to work second shift, you like to work third shift. Let them know that. So that way they know exactly how to set your loads up. Because if you don't tell them that, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to you. You're going to get out there and there's going to be a bunch of drivers out there don't want to drive third shift. Okay? Now you like to drive first or you like to drive second. All right? You're going to be getting caught in wanting to drive. They're going to want you to drive an hour that you don't want to drive. Or it's going to throw you off because you don't have the hours to haul that load. Now you got two problems. One is you can't haul the load because you didn't ran these hours here. And then two, you got the dispatcher angry with you because now they pissed off at you because you set yourself up to allow saying, well, I could work any hour. Okay? And you didn't build that up with them. In other words, you didn't got them spoiled. Now they mad at you, and then what's going to happen? They're going to start trying to screw you on your loads. That's exactly what they're going to do. So in the beginning, drivers, when you coming out of school, when you leave your trainer and you going on your own solo, make sure you let your fleet manager or dispatcher or whatever they call them now, you let them know that these are the hours you like to work. That way you can do your 11 hours on first shift, 11 hours on second shift, 11 hours on third shift. But like I said, I just showed you exactly how you should not be out of hours. You always going to have hours. And see, here's the thing. When you do it that way and you stay at a steady flow, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be one getting the cream of the crops of the loads. Trust me. You're going to get the cream of the crops of the loads because that dispatcher knows your habit. They know the hours you like to drive. They know how you work. Now, see, in region areas, one thing there's some places that you may not want to go. I'm going to give y'all a little secret. And I'm going to say this. To an area that you want to go to. And I hate to say this, but I say it. 70 to 80% of the times that work, and it's true. You tell them the areas you want to go. But in your mind, you don't want to go there. You heard me. You don't want to go there. Tell them that I don't like this place. But in reality, that place is where you got family members at. You got enough time. As long as you don't, mess up your delivery times and all that, you can go to those areas every time. That's a guarantee they're going to send you there. Now, the areas you tell them that you don't want to go to, you tell them you like going to there. You like going there. You want to go there. Watch what happens. I guarantee you're not going to go there. It sounds crazy, but it's real. Trust me, it's real. You tell them you want to go there, but in your mind, you don't want to go there. I guarantee you, you're not going to go to those places. If you heard what I just said. Now let's follow back real quick. Like I said, ask yourself this. Are you willing to stay away? Are you willing to stay away from home long periods of time? I didn't ask you this. Do you like traveling? Because you got to have the will to want to travel, to see the road. Okay? The third one, ask your wife, girlfriend. I'm just gonna, you can ask your kids. That's a option. That's an option. But you let them know, especially if they, they big, like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. You let them know what you're doing. Okay? But I leave them as an option to you. All right. But still, you let your kids know what you're doing. You ask them, would they accept you being on the road? And this I didn't tell you. And I'm going to say this. These guys that are coming out here, and I'm not calling no names out. The one thing they're leaving off of the whole catch to this is this. It takes a special woman. If a woman out here, she got a husband that's at home, takes a special man to deal with a truck driver, male or female. It's, believe me, and I know it's hard. Trust me. She got to be willing to accept it, and he got to be willing to accept it. Okay, that's the reason why I said what I said. Will they accept you being out there? And you guys got to have a straight communication. It can't be no, worrying about my husband, my wife out there cheating on the road, my boyfriend or my girlfriend cheating on the road. You don't worry about that. You got to have, the one thing you got to have, trust with your partner. That's it. Whether it be a wife or a girlfriend, there's got to be trust there. A wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or a husband. Okay? It's got to be trust there on both behalf. End of story. Okay? Now, like I said, I just covered them. Again, I say this to you guys, drivers, young drivers coming out. Never, if you listen to what I just told you, you should never be out of hours if you log it right. If you log it, somebody tell you, you can't log it like that. Tell me why you can't. Explain to me. Go to the Department of Transportation and ask them. You can show 11 hours a day. You might have only drove 2 hours. I'm going to tell y'all something. Don't log this. And I'm telling you now, don't do it. If you drove 2 hours that day, if you drove 1 hour that day, you got to show, regardless, a pre and a post trip. Pre-trip is in the morning before you start out. Post-trip is at the end of the day when you finish. Okay? And you can show, each day you can show a 15-minute. See, the reason why I say 15-minute is because you don't want to use that other 30 minutes in doing pre-trips and post-trip. Use that other 30 minutes you driving because you're running like 600 miles a day. You want to use all those hours as you can. Use many as you can. Just stay with that 11 hours a day. That 11 hours a day, every day. If you ran 1 hour, you drove 1 hour for that day, and you showed 30 minutes for post and pre-trip inspections. Okay, and you look that truck over, and it don't take but a second to look that truck over and make sure everything is looking good. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little tip on that here in a second before we finish. If you showed 1 hour and 30 minutes, you need to show 9 hours and 30 minutes of on duty, not driving. And you flag down there. If you put fuel down there working around truck. End of story. DOT cannot touch you. Trust me, they cannot touch you. They can. People say, well, yeah, you can't do. Yes, you can too. It's the same as with logging off duty. Off duty means off duty. Off duty meaning you're not around that vehicle. When you say off duty means you. Let me put it to you this way: if you logged off duty, and let's say you was in the rest area, and the DOT came in there and started doing checks on everybody, and they can do it. Oh yes, they can do it. They can check a truck. Just, hey, we just going around checking driver's logbooks. We just knock on your door with the Department of Transportation. We like to see your logbook, and you got to show it to him. He got the badge on and everything. You got to show it to him, and he like, driver, you logging, you got on here off duty. Now, chances are he might be a good guy. He might say, well, you're not off duty. I see. First of all, I see you sitting up here in the driver's seat. That means you're not off duty. Off duty meaning you're away from that vehicle. You're no longer around that vehicle. That's what off duty means. You're away from that vehicle. Okay. If you went into the rest area and you went in there for about, say you just sitting around in there for about an hour, you was talking to another driver, and you came back out, and the DOT seen you and walked up to you when you got in the truck and asked for your logbook, and you got to show it to him, and he looked at it, and you got on there, you said you was on duty, not driving. Now, you are no longer, when you walk from that rest area building and you come back to your truck, you weren't around your truck. See, on duty means around your truck. It means what it means. On duty, around your truck. Meaning you're near the truck. You're not nowhere away from it. You right either in it or you're around it. See, that's what a lot of guys don't understand. Okay, that being said, he can gonk you for that. Yes, he can. Now, you may get a crazy DOT. He might fine you for that. Well, you're not on duty. You was away. You off duty. I just seen you come from the rest area building, and I've been out here. He said, and matter of fact, he said, I just pulled away from this truck, and I just did this truck about 30 minutes ago. Meaning you had to been in there over 30 minutes. But you showing here, you've been around this truck for an hour, and you ain't been around the truck. You was in here. Meaning the next time, make sure you flag it off duty. Show flagging you off duty and where you at. You in off duty, you don't have to really flag what you're doing. The on duty, you can to be safe. Flag it, showing what you're doing, working around the truck. I've been working around the truck for 9 hours today. Okay, I drove 1 hour. 1.5 hours. Well, I used 1.5 hours on duty, a half hour on duty, and an hour driving. Okay, and the rest of the time I showed 9 hours on duty, not driving. Well, altogether, you got 10 hours of on duty, not driving. Okay, and it's legal. All that does is when you reach that 60-hour rule, the 7-day 60-hour rule. Okay, it used to be the 8-day 70-hour rule. Now it's 7-day 60-hour rule. When you reach that 60 hours, those 11 hours will drop off. You generate back 11 hours every time. Again, you should never be out of hours. All right, that's all you have to do, drivers. It's that simple. It's that simple. But my young fellas out there, as they saying, I give credit to these guys talking about being on the grind and all this. They right. I mean, it is what it is. They right. I give them 100% credit on that. I give them props up. Do the grind. Do your job. One thing you do it because you like doing it. Even though it pays you well, do it because you like doing it. You're going to hear those complainers out there, those whiners. Don't hate on them. You just keep doing what you're doing. You keep on running the roads and making that money. Okay? But one thing I'm going to tell y'all, to those that accept it, you got some that believe in it and some that don't. I love all y'all. One thing you got to remember, give God thanks for what he allowed you to have. Always give him the blessings for what you got. And that being said, my fellow drivers out there, you young men and you young women, y'all keep that, as my boys say, y'all keep that grind on. Sinister, I give it to him. He's you know, he's a good motivator. I give him that. I give him props up for that. He's a heck of a motivator. If y'all heard the name, Mr. Sinister, I'm pretty sure you have. But you keep your grind on. You keep doing that job. You know, you try to make it work where you at. Stay there. Give yourself X amount of a period of time to where you saved up enough and get your own truck. That's the whole goal. Become your own boss. That's it. My fellow drivers out there, until my next video I come out with, you guys take care. As we always say, keep that high side up and that low side down. They call me One Guardian Knight. We easing back and we back out quiet.